Okay. Hi, everybody. Oh. Okay. All right. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Lag BaOmer. There was certainly a lot of really good things going on here. So I'm going to be talking about Tehillim. So as we mentioned last week, we want to strengthen our group of the people saying the Sefer Tehillim every week together, and verifying with everyone to make sure all the prakim are covered. Anyone who's not been part of the group and wants to, please let me know. And there's also a reminder WhatsApp group. So if you're not in it and you want to be, then let me know. We can do that. And we also hope to have an email group for this. I know for me, saying Tehillim since the war, since this time of trouble, has been a really different experience than it was in calmer times. And the words seem to be speaking right to me. It's been a real change. So I was learning some things about Tehillim. So I wanted to share some information and hopefully to enhance our experience as we recite these chapters. So we attribute the Sefer Tehillim to King David because of his sweet singing voice, which is, as it says in Shir and Rabbah. Even though there are some Tehillim which were written by other people, such as Asaph and the sons of Korach and some others, but we consider all of it like David and Malach wrote. The custom of reciting Shir Shel Yom goes back to the days of the Beis Hamikdash. In Rosh Hashanah, it states that the Leviim chanted a different psalm each morning, and it provides a list of the psalms that were recited each day. The Dead Sea Scrolls contain the oldest remaining written copies of Tehillim, which is,
how old do you know?
More than 2,000 years ago. So we also need to remember that up until the 9th century, the Jews copied all biblical texts, including Tehillim, in the format of a scroll. They didn't write it in books. And certainly printed, because there's no printing press, but also they didn't write it in books. All holy books were written in scrolls. And when you see in your printed Sefer Tehillim, there's book 1, book 2, and 5 books, and that was based on what they needed to do because of the scrolls.
Scroll 1, scroll 2, scroll 3.
Right, right, because of the what could fit comfortably on a scroll. And the recitation of Tehillim expanded as time went on. So as we said, we had it in the Beis Hamikdash, and then when after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, and when the prayers became more formalized, the Tanaim, the people, the Rabbanim from the Mishnah, from 70 to 200 CE, they did not include Tehillim in what we were reading. And the Amoraim, 200 to 400, started slowly introducing Tehillim into everyday prayer. And then by the time there is a siddur, which apparently the first siddur was Rav Amram Gaon siddur, and he lived between 810 and 875. And by that time, there were Tehillim were in the daily prayers. So and even after that, there were not Siddurim that everybody said the same thing. Like each community had their readers, and the people who were the chazanim or the leading the services, and they would have their own thing. And so each community had its own thing. But Tehillim, by this time, were a part of everybody's daily prayers in one way or another. So there were the mandatory recitations, which were in the Siddurim and in what the people were saying. And then there were the things that people said on their own. And sometimes the optional ones find its way into our daily prayers. such as Ashrei, which we say 3 times a day. Originally, it was like a pious thing to do, like to say it. And then, but in Brachot 4b, it says, he who recites the Psalm of David 3 times a day is assured of a share in the world to come. So that was still something at that time that certain people would do. But then it was incorporated into something that's in our prayers. And also Hallel, which was also recited daily by some exceptionally pious people. Not that they said the bracha of Hallel, but those 113 to 118 was something that they would say every day. And even the name Suke de Zimra, which is definitely part of our daily thing, was once referred to as a collection of psalms that was said in a moment of joy. And then gradually all these became part of our daily liturgy. So various approaches exist within the optional recitation of Tehillim. The Baba Sali recommended that every Jew complete Sefer Tehillim at least once a month. And in fact, most current printed books of Tehillim arrange the Tehillim according to the days of the month and also according to the days of the week. Like you'll see, it'll say, you know, for Yom Aleph, for Yom Bet. And I mean, things are much easier now that we have printed. Rav Eliezer Papo, the author of the Palayotes, advised that a person who has a problem or is in pain or going on a journey should recite the entire Sefer Tehillim each day without stopping, with kavanah and humility, and he will see wonders. The Chidah says that reciting Tehillim regularly can protect the person from calamities and several harmful illnesses. So in previous times, almost every shul had a clever Tehillim, and these were typically men who, pious Jews who couldn't learn Gemara because the educational level was not as it is today. And they would go to shul and recite Tehillim. And besides these daily, and they would go every day. And besides these daily gatherings, whenever a decree hung over a community, the Jews would gather in shul to say Tehillim. And that part continues. And in our times, and especially in times of distress, Jews all over the world also gather to say Tehillim. And there are different ways of doing this. There's the Tehillim Hulak, which I'm sure a lot of us have participated in, where the Tehillim are broken up into many booklets so that people sit together and everybody reads one booklet, or maybe some people can read more than one, so that the Tehillim is all said in one time. And then there are also online groups, which I'm sure a lot of you are in, where they're also saying Tehillim either every week or every day, or rolling Tehillim. And so we at the Bas Medrash, we're like a hybrid. We meet and every week, but we say our Tehillim each at home, ensuring that we complete the whole book of Tehillim every week. And then there are also other ways to arrange your recitation of Tehillim. They're saying Pesukim with the letters of a person's name. If someone is davening for a specific person, for example, a sick person, and also people do it for a deceased person at the gravesite. So if a person's name is Sarah, you would say all the Pesukim starting with Shin, then those beginning with a Resh, and then those beginning with a Hey. So Right. So some people, that's what I was going to say, that in Kaf Yud Tes, there are 8 Pesukim for each letter. So you can say it that way. But there's also published volumes of Tehillim Hachidah, which arrange all the Pesukim of Tehillim according to the alphabet, which I have never seen, but apparently there is such a thing.
All
Yeah, that's what it says. I haven't seen it, but that would be some undertaking.
unless it's done digital.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, the thing that I read said that book started coming out in the 1990s. So it could be that
Yeah,
it could have
right.
been done. There are also instructions for reciting specific Tehillim for various situations, which are sometimes in your Sefer Tehillim, and it's often derived from Shimush Tehillim, an anonymously published treatise, sometimes attributed to Reb Kai Gaon, who was the final Gaon of Pumbedisa. So I have a copy of that index that I got from someone you know. But many printed books of Tehillim also have this kind of index. So it says, like, if you want to protect against eye diseases, there's 6, 13, 119. If you want to affect happiness, it's 96, 97. So there's a whole index of different Tehillim to say for different things. So some references are obvious, like Parak 60 for victory in war, which mentions being victorious against several nations in war. But others, like they have Parak 3 for shoulder pain. And it's hard to understand, but I would assume that even though we look, when we read it, we are looking at the pshat. And so for like Parak 60, it's about war, so it's about war. And other things that there must be drush or remez or so that I don't know, but that they must have known. So the question with something like this is using Tehillim this way allowed? Is it like some kind of magic spell? Like, oh, I have a headache, I'm going to say this, like so the Rambam in Avodah Zarah forbids using verses from the Torah as an incantation, condemning those who make the words of Torah into a cure for the body when they are really a cure for the soul. However, he goes on to say that it's permitted for a healthy person to read verses from the Torah or chapters from Sefer Tehillim so that the merit of reading them will protect him and save him from difficulties and injury. Rav Eliezer Waldenberg, the author of Tzitz Eliezer, elaborates on this, commenting that when we say Tehillim for a sick person, we are praying to Hashem that he should heal the person. We hope that by saying Tehillim, the person's merits will increase. And I also think that the words of each Tehillim help to uplift us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a certain direction. And that so the specific Tehillim bring us in a certain direction, and that elevation increases merit. Another practice is to recite the chapter of Tehillim that corresponds to your current year of life. So the Maggid of Mezrich brought this minhag down in the name of the Baal Shem Tov. For instance, if you're 32, you're in the 33rd year of your life, and you would recite Psalm 33. So people do this either daily or on Shabbos or whenever. The general minhag is not to recite Tehillim at night from sundown till chatzos, except for certain times like Leil Shabbos and Leil Yom Tov. However, according to Rabbi Ovadia Yosef and the Klausensberger Rebbe, as well as many other Achronim, you may say Tehillim before chatzos if they're said to benefit another person. Okay, so that's enough of minhag. So now I just want to talk about like general things about Tehillim from two people. The Tzemach Tzedek, the third Lubavitcher Rebbe, said, if only you knew the power that lies in the verses of Tehillim and their effect in the celestial heights, you would recite them all the time. Know that the chapters of Tehillim break through all barriers and soar aloft from level to level unimpeded. They intercede before the Master of the universe and secure their effort with kindness and mercy. And then the Rabbi Nachman in Likutei Moharan, he says like an interesting thing, I think. All of creation desires to be in awe of your name. However, not every person merits to do tshuva. There is the one person who is lacking any inspiration at all towards tshuva. And even for the person who has inspiration to do tshuva, it is possible that they still do not merit to reach to the letter and the gate of tshuva that is appropriate for them. And even if they arrive to that special gate, it is possible that their gate will be closed. For all these reasons, a person may not merit to do tshuva. But through saying of Tehillim, even the person who has no inspiration towards tshuva will be inspired towards tshuva. And a person can also merit through Tehillim to reach the gate and the letter, which is appropriate to their specific soul, and to open their gate. So we find that one can merit through Tehillim to do tshuva. This is the aspect of how the rabbis of blessed memory darshaned Jakim Allah El Shel Tshuva, that David established the yoke of tshuva, and is referred to the sweet singer of Israel for having established Sefer Tehillim. And this is what our rabbis said regarding the story of David and Bathsheba. David was only meant to sin in order to teach the possibility of tshuva for the individual. So we see the tremendous power that our saying Tehillim has. So thank you all for being part of this endeavor. And have this thing, if anybody wants to look at, the different Shemush Tehillim.
Maybe we'll put that out for people who are part of the Tehillim group.
Oh, okay. Is everybody here? Anybody here? And
yes, sit there. Sit here.
I'll sit down there because so she can come.
Okay, yeah, if anybody, we still have a few holes. If you haven't signed up, doesn't that make you want to? It's like you can see really how important it is, and so I hope everybody will just fill it. It's the obligation basically is to say to Tehillim, your few prakim once a week. So anytime before sunset on Sunday. So you're saying, so that the whole group is saying Tehillim, once a week, and on Monday, everybody comes in with the shine on their face because our group is finished Tehillim. And thank you all for participating. Okay, so we're going to talk about, we're going to continue talking about the laws. I can't stand up today. The laws of Shabbos. We've been working our way through the malacha of otzah, carrying. And last week we started talking about like sort of problem situation. Like we've learned the basics of the law, and now what do you do if certain problems arise? So last week we spoke about you've taken a child who is able to walk, but refuses to walk. What do you do? How do you get this child home? And we suggested a few different ways. First of all, we said that if it's in a Carmelis, a place that's a rabbinically designated open area that's not heavily populated, so you could carry the child. Okay, we also talked about this method of handing a child back and forth between two people, or if you're only one person, then you have to walk less than 6 feet. You have to stop, walk, holding the kid, stop, walk, holding the kid, stop, walk. And I'm sure you know the halakhic reasons behind that. We've talked about this. Okay, so now we're going to go on to carrying animals. I could just do this quickly and say don't. Okay, I mean I could take the time. Anybody want to hear the details of why? Just don't. Don't. I mean, first of all, they're muksa, and second of all, we spoke about this principle of a like a living thing carries itself. This is not the case with animals. Animals are, except for Spot, animals are like ready to run and to jump off. So we don't carry them. But yes, animals are muksa.
I ran dog, and I was told
Are you serious? Yeah. I don't know. It's an Indian of Askarov. It's
What if your own animal? Some people are pet owners.
right. So there's greater possibility of holding an animal that's your own, right? It's the Indian of sod, capturing, trapping, right? Like when you pick up an animal, you can feel, they're like ready, they're going to jump at the first possible moment. You're holding them in your arms, and you're holding them in. Okay, that might be true sometimes with your own animal, right? It might be sometimes that's true. Anyways, the rabbis have determined that animals are muksa. If you were told that you check with your own rabbinic authority. Okay, there's seats here. You wanna sit? Okay. All right. So we're just gonna move on to Maybe I shouldn't have done it so quickly.
Two parents with two children that didn't want to walk
Uh-huh.
and were unhappy. Anyway, we're going down the stairs and I noticed the father held for like 2 feet or 3 feet and then he
Handed it to wife. Okay.
made the child touch the step. Almost dip him under the step.
Uh-huh.
So he had to move his feet a few.
That's interesting.
So that would.
Maybe they don't hold by the Eruv. Of course, everything, just reminding everybody that what we're talking about is a situation where there is no Eruv, or you do not hold by the Eruv. If it's an acceptable Eruv and you hold that way, then this is just theoretical. But everybody, not everybody, but most of us come into a situation where we do have to know these laws. I always have my famous story of not having been back in America for 7 or 8 years, and I carrying who? Like I didn't even remember that the thing existed as a possibility. And I'm not. I keep trying to think back to the situation. Did I do the right thing? Okay, so that's basically what we're going to talk about. Is like you're out in you're out in an open area, and you put your hand in your pocket, and here's a tissue. What do I do? What do I do with this? Because, right, remember you have the issue of when that carrying involves 2 parts. It's picking it up, usually like you put the tissue was in your pocket from the time that you were home, and then you're outside in the world and you're gonna what? Like put it down someplace? So you've actually completed the malacha of hotzah. That's hotzah d'oraisa. Okay, so what do you, so sometimes the simplest thing might be just to do like, they talk about a backhanded way, like if you're, you just pull your empty out your, pull your pocket inside out. Thank you. I was having a lot of trouble with it. Thank you. And then you just sort of let it drop to the ground. That might be one way of dealing it. Certainly the simplest way of dealing with it. But it's not necessarily the best halakhic way of dealing with it. And if there are situations, if there's a better way of doing it, right? Generally, when you have these kinds of things, I've said this before, you kind of rely on the D'Rabbanans. There's a lot of things that we don't do because they're prohibited by the rabbis, so you want to do everything you possibly can to violate a Torah law, but if you have to, you can violate a rabbinic law. So this is what he says. So the first thing to do, you're in this situation, you got your tissues, okay, and so do not stop walking. That's the first rule.
So it's the first you can do.
Is that right? Exactly right. Oh no. Okay, but hopefully you'll have the presence of mind to not stop walking. Okay, because when you stop walking, that's in a Reshus HaRabim. When you stop moving, that's that you put the thing down, that you complete the act of carrying. Okay, the next thing is you're walking back and forth. Okay, you just keep walking, and you're 4 almost, you're about 6 feet within that area, back and forth, and then you have to figure out what kind of domain it is. Like, what's the place? What this place that I am? What is it? So then that will determine what the halachic response is. So they have a picture of somebody here. He's like this. Okay, so this is the considering part. And this is the walking part. And so you have to try and figure, okay, so don't stop. Here, let's say it together. So in case you're in this situation, don't stop. Okay, walk back and forth and figure out your domain. Yeah, Ratza rock. I would say that, no, I would say, yeah, there's nothing, so what if you carry? It's like you're in this situation. You've done the wrong thing if you've stopped. So probably in that instance, the best thing is to just, like I said, turn your pocket, somebody else said, turn your pocket inside out and let the thing fall to the ground. So that's, okay. So if you're in a Reshus HaRabim, better hurry up here, right? Okay, so if you're in a Reshus HaRabim, So the first thing you do is you look for a makom patur, like an exempt area. We talked about things like mailboxes, fire hydrants. I always come back to mailboxes because that's what I did that time when I was, someplace that has no, that is also, it's rabbinic, but it has no issue of carrying. If there's a place that or if a truck happens to go by, a garbage truck happens to go by at that moment, throw it in. That would be, it's a moving, it's something that's moving. So that would be the first, that would be the one option. Okay, the second thing is, so this is a little less practical in my mind, but it's to return to exactly where you came from. Because that is as if, I know it's in a way it's a little counterintuitive because now I'm going to carry this tissue all the way back home. But yes, it's as if you're like nullifying this act of carrying. You're reversing it. So as a matter of fact, you have to walk backwards. No, I'm making that. No. Okay, so if at the end, there's all kinds of complications, right? Like you can't stop, right? You're walking back to your house, you can't stop. If you've got to like stop and then get the key from your belt and put it in, it doesn't work. It doesn't. If you've gone a very far distance, it doesn't really work. If you have a way that you can like sort of throw it over your shoulder, like throw it over your shoulder. And get it into like a fenced-in area or something, that would be okay. But it's probably like the least practical thing to do. So,
but what if it's something you need? Like, what if it's your keys?
Okay, this is a very good question, and we're not going to talk about it till next week. No, it's pretty involved. Okay, so then the what? Yeah, don't exactly. So the final solution he suggests is like I said, to let it just kind of drop down to the side.
So you could drop it in a bush or something. You don't want to drop your keys on the.
Well, the keys. No, I'm sorry, you'll have to wait.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
We'll wait.
That's fine. You grab a tissue, you go by and somebody's very nice picket fence yard.
Right.
And then you go there and they're like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. I can't believe those people threw their dirty tissues in my mailbox. Like, it's
You could put it in a garbage can.
Yeah, actually, you can put it in a garbage can. But an important point to remember is that you're not allowed to walk more than 4 amos. So only if these things are actually nearby, or you haven't. Yeah.
Or you haven't stopped.
Or you haven't stopped, right? But you can't like walk, a far distance to yeah. So that's it. All right. That is it, and that is all. Okay. So I can do this sitting. I'm a good person.
Why did they stop? Why did they come up with the idea that that's keep going?
Because the malacha is you pick up something and you put it down. But the rabbis made this, and that usually is talking about from a Rishusa Yachid to a Rishusa Rabim, or vice versa, from a public space to a private space. Right? But the rabbis also added this additional thing that you can't carry within a public space, right? Because anybody would see you walking down the street carrying, a tray of cookies. They would say, "Oh, I guess you can carry." Now they don't know that you've actually left your house, not stopped walking, kept moving the whole time, and brought it to another, but because it gives the appearance of carrying, so the rabbis said no. But what defines the act of carrying when you're under this rabbinic law? So it either could be that you put something down, but it also, they said that just stopping is ki'ilu, that you've put something down. It's as if you have completed the act of carrying. So that's the reason. So, all right, Tov Ma'od. Okay, all right, lot of different announcements. First of all, there you'll notice in front of you there is a copy of Al HaMichya and Borei Nefashos. So I mean, I have done this many times where I'm like still eating and I take my. Anyways, you just forget here in this situation. So everybody, we should just, try and improve our mitzvah observance, and we should try and say, Borei Nefashos Al HaMechya, so it's here, it's available. The biggest problem, I think, is when you graze, you like walk by and grab a carrot stick, and then do you remember to say the bracha achrona if you've eaten enough?
My niece only keeps sitting down for that reason.
Okay, that's it.
Again,
Okay. Okay. Okay, but I mean, even here, right? Like do you take your al hamichya out of your pocket and not necessarily. So also, I printed enough. You're welcome to take them. They're nice. So, Cyril, are you sending me a signal?
If you don't mind, but I get a little now. I think I'm.
Well,
Okay, you want to get an hour later.
well, let me just finish and then you can have your turn. Okay. I just want to remind everybody we do our annual Shavuos learning. This year it's a Tuesday night, so right after Monday. I mean, everybody will have time to cook. I think I think you'll be all be okay. How long does a cheesecake make? Not here, sorry to say, because they have their own program here. So we'll be at Shevachayas. We love being at Shevachayas, and some more details will come out shortly. Okay. We're still collecting money for the soldiers for Shabbos food. Yehudas Hoffman is very grateful to us, and all the money that we give her each week. So who is ever able to, that's the place to put it. And as long as you're depositing money, here's the box for either dues or for weekly payments. Okay. Jody Sugar, who's a farmer girl, she's becoming a full-fledged farmer girl, is bringing plants at around 4. I don't know, she's bringing plants to give away, and not at 4, at 11. How did that register as 4? I don't know. At 11 and 12 today. In the day, today, we have a break at 12 o'clock. So if you want these plants, she suggested that it be for a donation to the Bas Medrash, which would be very nice. If you would like to do that, you're welcome to do this. Okay. All right. So also, Laura Hoffman very thoughtfully arranged for a present for Tova. And I hope we get to see her and say a proper goodbye. But in the meantime, what?
She is living in there?
She's gone. She's gone. Yeah. So anyways, Dvorah bought the present. Everybody is welcome to participate in the gift. You can put your money in this envelope. She already put the money out, so you got to be nice and help her cover it. Okay, and also here's a card that you're welcome to sign. Give her a bracha, good wishes. So that card will be right here. What? Dvar, you want to say what the present is?
I got a set of dinner plates and salad plates and bowls and beautiful ones. And
It was a bargain. It was a
very good part. It's a set of 12 dishes. So just got a set of 12. And the mics are 6. So love.
How much are they asking?
Whatever you are able to get. If for some reason I get extra, I'll give her like a serving bowl or a tablecloth to go with it. I'll make. You don't need to give a lot. I really got it.
If everybody gives, then is 20 shekels a reasonable amount if everybody is giving? So then that's, okay, so thank you very much.
I know how.
Is he still in the hospital?
He had a procedure on Wednesday. Or they're hoping that it will be successful. But right now they don't have the phone because their rental they're deciding not to take because of the contract. So right now, it's floating, which is why the love is stiff. And it's gonna go. Right. Which means that if you want to, over several weeks, remember, it's really something forward. I have to find.
Okay.
The way she's saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have just one more announcement, and then others can make their announcement. We're just changing the seating a little bit at 11 o'clock. The people in the Shoftim group are going to be in the Minyan room, not here. The room out there. The Minyan room, not this room, this room, big room. And Riva's group is going to be outside. And, hopefully that will just kind of loosen up space for everybody else. So everybody else basically stay in your same areas, but you can spread out a little bit more and hopefully it'll be a little bit more pleasant for everybody.
Did you get my own speaking today?
Yes, thank you for reminding me, Rabbi. Yeah, thank you very much for reminding me. Rabbi Ram is teaching at 12:30, Shavuos and the infinite you.
Okay.
That's the third of 5 sessions. Okay, anybody? Yeah, Tatiana's not well. If anybody wants to daven for Tanya Tova, Bas Rosa, that would be a nice thing. It's not, she doesn't know what it is. So it comes and goes and it's very upsetting to her. So she's at home. If anybody would like to, okay, who else has announcements? Quickly.
Sure, I think on some kind of a test in Beit Torah here. So somebody handed this to me, Avi Shakar. Does anybody know who this is? Yeah. Would you give it to them? I was glad to. He lives on, there's